Hi, welcome and welcome back. I hope you're doing well. When it comes to narcissists and their relationships with their children, child please takes on different meanings depending on what type of child you are in the narcissistic or dysfunctional family. I want to talk about 3 different types of children in narcissistic or dysfunctional or toxic families. Maybe you can identify with one of the 3, maybe you fall into a completely different category, but let's at least start the conversation and definitely continue the discussion in the comments below. The first type of child that I want to talk about is the scapegoat. And the scapegoat is typically a child that really gets a beat down, quite frankly, from the narcissistic parent. They're not good enough. They are always screwing up. They are considered to be a problem, more of a problem child, and they just can't do anything right. And a lot of times the scapegoat takes the blame or takes the fall for things in the family for being more of a disgrace or a disappointment. And definitely they get compared and contrasted with other children within the family dynamic. And the scapegoat really gets the brunt of abuse from the narcissistic parent. And I definitely saw this in my household. The scapegoat often has low self-esteem and is vulnerable to getting into relationships later with narcissistic or dysfunctional type individuals. Another type of child within the narcissistic family or dysfunctional family dynamic is the invisible child. And this child tends to be shy, quiet. They tend to be attention seeking, and it could be either good attention or bad attention. They're often neglected. They kind of fade into the woodwork, kind of blend in. They are also set up poorly, kind of like the scapegoat, in that they're kind of isolated. They're just not good enough. They tend to have low self-esteem, and they tend to grow up being resentful. The third type of child that I want to talk about is the golden child. This child is also known as a hero child, and this child tends to be an overachiever. They tend to be the pride and joy of the narcissistic parent, and the child that the narcissist kind of holds up for everyone to see, and is also held up as an example for the other children in the family. This child brings a lot of praise and glory and a lot of pride to the narcissist, even more than they have already. And this child tends to be kind of a caretaker in the making. They tend to be successful. They tend to do very well in everything that they do, whatever their endeavors are. It could be sports, it could be school, it could be their career later. The narcissist tends to want to try to mold the golden child or hero child into more of what the narcissist's idea is of like perfectionism. Or the narcissist can also try to mold the golden child into something that the narcissist wishes that they could have been. And if the golden child has the opportunity to do something or to experience something that the narcissist maybe regrets in life or wishes that they had done, or that they maybe were turned down or rejected for, the narcissist is going to really push for the golden child or hero child to do it, or to take the opportunity, or to go for it, and so that the narcissist can then live vicariously through the golden child. The golden child or hero child is often favored by the narcissist, but they also endure a lot of abuse by the narcissist. The narcissist really tends to be hard on the golden child or hero child because they're trying to shape and mold them into more of what their fantasy is of perfection. And also the golden child tends to get neglected in some ways because everybody kind of thinks, well, they already have it going on, or they've got their act together, so they really don't need any help. And the golden child will often, even though they get praised and get attention on some levels, they often go without, say, emotional support. The narcissist oftentimes doesn't have a really strong emotional connection with the golden child, or any other child for that matter, but really with the golden child, they're often so focused on the outward appearance and really perpetuating that and promoting that, that they don't connect and aren't really aware of who the golden child or hero child really is as a person, or really understand their personality. The narcissist will often try to enmesh themselves with the golden child or hero child so that they can go for the ride. If it's the career trajectory or whatever success the golden child may be experiencing. And the narcissist can also look to the golden child as a caretaker later on in life, hit them up for money, look to them to take care of them in their later years, and put a lot of pressure on the golden child to kind of handle things or take care of things or take care of others. And it can be a lot, especially when the golden child is younger. That being said, the golden child can also be the target of a lot of hate or just even bad feelings, or just troubled relationships with other siblings, because they've been favored, they've been put on a pedestal, they've been promoted. The narcissistic parent is going to talk about what the golden child is doing to the other children, and that can stir up jealousy. The triangulation is real in narcissistic families, especially among the dynamics with the children. And the narcissistic parent is going to really create a lot of problems in the relationships between children, because they'll be promoting the golden child and talking about all the awesome things that they're doing and how great they are. And the other children are going to, in contrast, feel neglected, or they're going to feel like they're not good enough, or they may envy the golden child or just be jealous of them. They may not necessarily want to be the golden child or be in their position, but just feel jealous of all of the promotion and attention that they're getting, and maybe the focus that the narcissistic parent is placing on the golden child. And because of all of these, the triangulation and all of the toxic dynamics going on in the narcissistic family, and the way that the narcissistic parent has set things up relationally among the children, it really makes it hard for the kids to have good, healthy relationships. And that sucks, because the kids may make assumptions about each other based on the way that they're treated by the narcissistic parent, or based on what the narcissistic parent says. And just like you may not take the time to get to know someone else who's dealing with the narcissist, and vice versa, they may not take the time to get to know you, even in a stranger relationship, or in a work relationship, or some other kind of friend or acquaintance type situation. The same thing happens in the narcissistic family. The kids may not actually get to know each other as they grow up, even if they lived in the same household. They may not actually get to know each other, because the narcissist has created a lot of just wedges and distance amongst the kids. And they may be surprised to learn things about each other later on in life as adults, especially if they're determined to have healthy relationships with their siblings. I have, in recent years, finally been able to enjoy the type of relationship that I've always wanted to have, and that I've always felt like I should have with my brother, my younger brother. And my dad really did a good job of driving a wedge between us by constantly comparing and contrasting what we were doing, and There were times when maybe my brother wasn't doing things in the way that my dad felt like he should. And so my dad would have me call him. Hey, can you call your brother and encourage him to not do this or encourage him to do that? And I didn't realize at the time the triangulation that was happening and the ways that I was being used as a flying monkey, for example, to go and talk my brother into changing his mind about college that he was attending, or about school, or about a work situation, or whatever it was. And one of my older half siblings was shocked to find out what happened around the time of my wedding and the way that my dad almost destroyed my wedding and all of the horrible things that he had to say and lies that he spread about my husband before we got married, and how he got other family members to buy into his ideas or just prejudices or whatever, biases towards my husband, which were completely wrong. And that all came out later. But the fact that my older half brother had no idea about the hell that my husband and I went through just to get to the altar. And he likes my husband. You know, it's like everybody realizes later that, okay, wow, like this was just not the way that things were presented or what was being, said, or this wasn't true. But people don't realize that when everyone's in it and when the narcissist is actively doing their work in triangulating and creating rifts and pitting people against each other. And my dad did a great job of that. And, I don't have as close a relationship as I was like with some of my other siblings, but my younger brother and I in recent years have really made that effort to talk and to really get to know each other in a way that we weren't able to with my dad in the middle of everything, and setting up these toxic dynamics and doing all this comparing and all of that. And I've been able to, build my brother up in ways that I don't have to worry now about my dad undoing. My dad's been deceased for a number of years, but he really did a number. And you may find in your family, if you grew up in a narcissistic family or a toxic household or dysfunctional environment, that there were things that your narcissistic parent or whoever the family member was that was kind of orchestrating these toxic dynamics and perpetuating these lies or just toxic relationship situations and triangulating and the pitting against each other and all of that. The person who was really promoting that and perpetuating that was just really getting in the way of just good old-fashioned loving, caring relationships, and really denying a lot of family members the support, encouragement, nurturing, and just closeness that we all want and need, really, at the end of the day. Did you grow up in a narcissistic or dysfunctional family? And what child were you in the narcissistic or toxic family dynamic? And what was your experience like? I was definitely the golden or hero child, and it made me uncomfortable. I didn't really like the way that my dad really used my accomplishments and used my achievements for his own bragging rights, and the toxic dynamics that it created between me and my siblings. It really hurt a lot, and I missed out on a lot of living and enjoying my relationships with my siblings because of it. I've worked hard as an adult to fix a lot of those dynamics, and it's not easy. And it's easy to kind of just stay in your corner or to just even buy into whatever the narcissist said. Remember, whatever dynamics the narcissist set up in your family and your household, between you and your siblings, or anybody else for that matter, even the other parent, the non-narcissistic parent, it doesn't have to define you, and it doesn't have to continue. You can choose to break the toxic cycle of abuse and the toxic dynamics. You can change the course of your family history going forward. You're not alone, and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with. Know who you are. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.